now, and we are recording.
Awesome.
So, let me share my screen here. Okay. Share. Okay. So, here we are. Hello, everyone, and everyone who's watching this live right now in the Facebook group, or here on Zoom, or watching the recording at a later time and date. That's great. I'm Emily. I'm the marketing director here at GoWP. We're here with James Rose here, and so we can welcome him.
Hello.
So as so as part of the GoWP community, all of you are agency professionals. If you're here watching now, you can go ahead and let me know in the chat if you're here on Zoom, if you're an agency professional or not, or what it is you do, why you're here. You know, if you're not an agency professional, what is it that you're working on? What do you hope to get out of this? So with this community, it's my goal to provide you all with great content that can help you grow your agency. One of the most effective ways to grow your agency is by establishing, a nice solid baseline of recurring revenue. Everyone knows that, I think. So that way you're able to spend time strategizing and improving your services and not worrying about how you're going to pay bills each month. So yeah, the team of happiness engineers here at GoWP helps a lot of agencies succeed by providing exceptional maintenance and support for their clients, if you didn't already know that. Some of you watching here do know that because you're GoWP customers. So you know the benefits of leveraging a white label team to take care of that low value, high touch work. And some of you are not GoWP customers, and that's fine also. We're happy to have you.
Hey, I can totally vouch for GoWP too. Sorry to interrupt the spiel,
fine.
but like, man, what you guys do is awesome. And I know you're doing it better than pretty much everyone else that offers, white label maintenance. Like, you guys are on it. After meeting Brad, your systems are so much better than just about everyone else that I've ever met. So it's awesome.
Awesome. That is great to hear. So there we've got one person vouching for us. So there we go. And we've got
I've even got the shirt on. I don't know if they can see that.
Shirt. So there we go. That's Preston, our mascot. We love him.
He's awesome.
We've also got Graham Tucker saying hi. So hey, Graham. Okay, so yeah, what we do, we partner with agencies by taking all that high touch, low value work that disrupts your day off your plate. And those are things like plugin updates, secure backups, security scans, malware cleanup, and of course, all those endless content updates that are requested by your clients. So we do that under your brand, like James said, as white label. And this way you have time to focus on the low touch, high value work that helps your agency grow and become more scalable, the stuff that you're good at and enjoy doing. So if you have any questions about partnering with GoWP and how we can help your agency, you can throw them up in the chat, or you can feel free to email me. My email's there on the screen, emily@gowp.com. I also wanted to quickly mention our Facebook group, which we have been getting started this month. It's GoWP Niche Agency Owners. We're broadcasting this webinar live there now, like I said. So some of you are already in the group, but it will be available. This webinar will be available afterward there as well. So if you want to catch the recording or go back and check it out, just go to facebook.com/groups/niche agency owners and you can request to join. I will give you that link in the follow-up email to this webinar as well, so don't worry about that. So yeah, the community there, it's agency professionals who either already serve a niche market or would like to niche down. So we all have the common goal of growth. Don't be shy in the group if you join, ask questions. If you see questions from me or anybody else, feel free to answer or give insights, just generally engage in the group is what makes it work. So we'd love to have you there. Yeah, so that's it from me. We can get to James now. Just a brief introduction to James, and then he can fill in any gaps that I leave. So he started Actura. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, well done.
All right, Actura in 2010 is a single product SEO software company. Then in 2013, he decided to try his hand at web design, and he's been designing websites from there. And then you branched off from that and started Content Snare. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, over the next few years, this I'm getting from all of your online bios, by the way.
Yeah, there's
So,
a few.
many websites were built, and through this process of live, learn, and do better, James has become a resource for developing processes that just work better. So he's a fantastic resource. He's also been a fantastic resource for us here at GoWP as we've grown and been working on growing, and needed to ensure our own scalability in that process. And we've learned a lot from him. So we're really excited to have him here. So James, take it away.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Emily. It's so cool to be here. I mean, been talking with Brad online for a long time, and finally met him and got this shirt from him not long ago in Orlando. So that was awesome. But yeah, I mean, you pretty much covered it. We built Content Snare a couple of years back to help agencies get content from clients, because we found it was one of the biggest problems that agencies have, because we had that problem for years. And now, actually, I've been getting a lot of people asking me about automation, process automation, a lot of Zapier stuff. So that's kind of where I'm going at the moment, and that's why I'm here, trying to help you guys with Zapier and automating parts of your agency, because I mean, automation is awesome. It helps you get time back in your business to work on growing your business, and doing other stuff that you like doing, like hanging out with your kids or whatever. So I love it. So I'm gonna share my screen.
Yep, I'm going to go ahead and turn off my video now, so I'm not distracting anyone.
And if anyone has questions during this, please just ask them. I've asked Emily to interrupt me and just go ahead and shoot them to me straight away, because that way it's kind of more interactive. I don't want to just kind of talk at the camera for the whole time. So yeah, hit me up if you have any questions. So this is kind of misleading. I've called it using Zapier to automate stuff you shouldn't be doing. However, I've got a whole lot of non-Zapier tips in here as well. We'll briefly cover Zapier and then sort of dig into just automation ideas, because I think just ideas and the best way to sort of get your mind going of what's possible. So we're going to cover why automation is awesome, even though I've kind of already done that briefly, how it works at a basic level, and how to work out what to automate. This is the biggest question by far that I get, and some cool examples to get your mind going. I mean, why automate is, other than what I've mentioned already, it's the fact that you can go and hang out and do other stuff that you actually want to spend your time on, rather than, tedious, repetitive tasks that are perfect for automation. It's all about time leverage for me, right? Like it's productivity. So I spend some time now, but sorry, I'm just going to go back a bit. Time leverage, I mean, like you can spend like a little bit of time to get a lot back. So I kind of see spending time on automation like investment. Like if you were to put some money in an investment account or something, you spend maybe an hour now to set up some kind of automation that pays you back 5 minutes a week or whatever that happens to be. And then in 12 weeks, you've broken even and you've got a free 5 minutes for forever. That doesn't sound like much, but if you do that like, 50 times, suddenly you have something like this, which is my Zapier account, and it runs about 9,000 to 10,000 tasks per month. And if you assume 30 seconds per task, that's around 75 hours saved in, well, at this point it was 25 days through the month. In that you can see the monthly usage resets in 5 days. So that's where I want to help you guys get to. It's really awesome to know like that stuff's happening in your business without you even being there. I really enjoy that feeling, as well as the obviously productivity and growth that comes from it. So just a quick overview of how Zapier specifically works for those of you that haven't used it before. And for those who have, I'll try and get through this quickly. But essentially it's when in one sentence, it's like when X happens, do Y. So like you could have when a new lead signs up in your CRM, when they get entered into your CRM, then add them to a spreadsheet. That's a very simple example, but it's just when this happens, do this. And in Zapier, it looks like this. Down the left-hand side, we have this trigger filter action. So triggers are just things like time-based. So you could say every week do this thing, or when a new lead is added to my CRM, or when a lead is updated in my CRM, when something changes. Or you can even have things triggered manually using a special browser extension. And then you have an action that tells another app to do something. So in this case, we've got every day an item is being added in my Trello, a card is being created. So a very, very simple one, just a reminder to do something every day. Yeah, and I'm not going to dig into all those other types. So what to automate is the biggest question I get. I did a survey of like a few hundred people, and 80% of the responses were of like why they weren't automating, what was stopping them getting started was stuff like, I don't know where to start, I don't know what to automate. So I'm going to show you a couple of quick ways to get started, especially with Zapier. It's literally go to the Zapier website and click on those. They've actually changed the names of these apps and integrations at the top. It's now called Apps and Explore. But if you just jump into that Apps tab at the top, that one's still there. It looks like this, and you just search for the app that you're using and open up a page. And it tells you everything that's possible to do with this tool. And if you scroll all the way down the bottom of this page, this Google Sheets page, you will find this section where you can see the actions, triggers, and searches that are possible using Zapier. And just looking through this can give you some ideas, right? So right now we've got triggers listed at the top there. So you can see that some of the things we can trigger automations or workflows based on when a new spreadsheet row gets added or a spreadsheet row gets updated, then we could go and trigger an automation from this. And at the bottom, we have actions. So this is stuff that you can actually do in Google Sheets. Like creating spreadsheet rows, updating rows. So just a good thing to go and browse when you're trying to work out what's possible with the apps that you're already using. So just go in there and into that apps tab and use that search and look for apps that you're already using and just see what they're capable of. Now there's one more. I don't have it on here. If you go to what's called the Explore tab now, where it says integrations at the top, that gives you a place where you can literally just select multiple apps that you're using. Like you could go, I'm using ActiveCampaign and Google Sheets, and you literally just tick the boxes on those. If I had a browser up, maybe I can quickly show you this. It's probably, I forgot we're doing an interactive thing here. So yeah, it's this Explore tab here. So if you just jump in and would like tick Google Sheets and maybe ActiveCampaign, you can scroll down in here and it just gives you little, very simple Zap examples. Like you can get way more complex than these things, but you can actually get some ideas of just where to start when it comes to automation. This is one of my favorite ways to find what's possible. And I'll quickly show you that apps tab that I had in the presentation. So if we open Google Sheets, of course, they've just changed their interface, so it looks a little bit different to what I showed you. But down here is where you can find the triggers, actions, and searches, so you can see what's possible in each app. Alrighty, let's move on. And now let's look at a few ways you can come up with ideas for your own business of what to automate, rather than just looking at apps you're already using. What I found the biggest thing with automation is actually knowing what's possible. So once you start building up a little bit of a repertoire of, all these different apps can trigger on these things and have these kind of actions, once you know that, you'll start joining dots just in your mind over time. So knowing what's possible is the biggest thing. So literally just researching is a good place to start. And over time, you're going to learn. So it's just one of these things that the more time you spend, the more you're going to be able to do. So like even today, I'm still finding things that I didn't know were possible previously. I'm in the middle of recording a course about Zapier. And in that process, I have found so many things that I didn't know was possible. And now I get to roll that into the course. And it's like, I love that stuff more than anything, because now I can see so many more ways that I can save time. So yeah, the big thing I want to get across here is just dive in and start playing around, and it's just, a couple of basic automations to start, and you'll grow over time. So in your business, some of the things to think about are double handling. So every time you are moving information across systems or adding the same information to multiple places. So like, if you get a new contact in and they fill out a contact form, like moving that information into your CRM, and then maybe also putting them in your project management system, and you're using that same data in multiple places manually, whether that's you or someone on your team doing it, that's just wasted time. It's prone to human error, like accidentally putting the wrong fields in or not putting fields in. And this is a perfect, absolutely perfect use case for automation, and where I recommend most people start, because I mean, everyone has some kind of, has this going on in their business pretty much. So moving on to social posting, this is another classic automation use case where you are putting very similar content or the same content across multiple social channels. Double handling, that doesn't need to be done. And event-based changes. So like, if someone was to book a meeting with you, I've spoken with businesses where when that meeting gets booked, they manually tag someone in their CRM or change a custom field, and they're doing all this stuff manually, which is another perfect use case for automation. So when something changes in one system, updating another system is what I mean by event-based changes. Excessive email is another great use case for automation. So anything that you'll find is just there's too much email going on and you want to get rid of it. Booking times for meetings is the classic. So I expect that many of you, if not everyone, is already on Calendly or one of those types of booking systems. If not, please get on that straight away, because it's such a waste of time going backwards and forwards trying to find a meeting time for people. It's got to the point now where I even get kind of mad if someone tries to organize something manually with me. I was like, I get to this point where I'm just like, send me a link, please. Like, it's not rude. Anyway, so get on a tool like Calendly. And second is collecting information from clients, which is, I mean, kind of a little bit of a plug here, because that's why we built Content Snare, is because there's so much email involved in getting website content, or, I mean, any information from clients, like onboarding information, any of this stuff where it's just like, oh, please send me this. Oh no, that logo was like 3 pixels too small. Can you please send another one? This email storm that results is just such a productivity killer. So that's another great use case for automation. Tedious and repetitive, again, classic. There's so many examples in this, like anything that just sucks to do, takes too long, or something you're doing lots and lots of times. So setting up folder structures for new clients can be automated. Passwords, if you don't have a password manager, please get on that immediately. It's so awesome to be able to share passwords securely with your team, and not trying to copy and paste things around the place or send them by email. Client onboarding, so this is your classic email sequences or whatever it happens to be when your new clients come on, where you give them the information that they need and they provide you with the information that you need. That's a perfect use case for automation. Invoicing follow-ups, I'm kind of just going like a vomit of all these different ideas here, but hopefully this is just triggering something for you so you can actually go away and do a couple of these things and save time. But yeah, invoicing follow-ups. So if you're using Xero, for example, which is a cloud-based accounting tool, it's a couple of clicks to turn on automatic reminders that chase up your clients to send payment. And these have been great for us, that they, just turning that on has made, I don't think we've had to chase up invoices for a very long time because it just does it automatically. I'll skip over this one. Backups, obviously, use GoWP. This is an easy one in this case, or some kind of manual backup, automatic backup tool for your websites. And I mean, even your files. Like by now, every cloud service has some kind of backup in place, like Dropbox and Google Drive. I tend to back everything up. Like all my photos get automatically backed up, and I also back up a lot of my files locally onto a network hard drive, which is just another awesome way to save time. And client check-ins. Like this is, to me, with ongoing recurring maintenance, this is perfect for GoWP clients. I've to reduce churn, this is a great idea. So like actually checking in with your clients every month to see how everything's going with their website or whatever, rather than just like a set and forget maintenance kind of thing. Automatically reminding or checking in with clients to just be like, hey, how is everything going? Is there anything you want done on your website? It can be a great opportunity for upsells, and it's something you don't have to do manually. It just can be done automatically with any email system like ActiveCampaign. So that's another piece of low-hanging fruit, and social media, obviously. So things that you forget. This is another great use case for automation. So for example, checking new leads. So with Content Snare, we have a lot of people signing up every day for trials. And I like to go through and identify any clients or any new leads that are going to be generally, like, not better, I don't know what the word is, but it's like more likely to sign up. So like bigger organizations that tend to benefit from Content Snare more. I used to have to go through and scroll through all of the people that had come in. But now I have all the new leads sent to me in one. You can either do it through email or like a Trello item. What you're looking for in Zapier to do this is a digest by Zapier, and it can actually roll up all the different leads you get in a day and drop them in your to-do list, so you can have a quick scroll through. Actually, I think I have an example for that coming up. Project management system activity. So I like to keep my finger on the pulse of what's going on in the business, but I always forget to log in to the project management and have a look. Like it's at the point now where I pretty much don't go into our project management system at all because our staff handle it all. But to get an idea of what's going on, you can roll up all project management system activity and just drop it in my to-do list for a quick scan through each day. And tracking, I mean, I'm just going to jump through these because they're all pretty standard stuff, like tracking your Google rankings, social media mentions, and reporting can all be automated, stuff that you can just email yourself every day if you like. So this is the bit that I like the most, and this is where people often get cool ideas that they can go and implement in their business. So I'm just going to jump through a bunch of cool ideas that I use in my business. And yeah, hopefully you can take something away from this and implement it. So the first one, this is one of my favorites. It's like automation meets personalization. So what's happening in this Zap here, it's when someone signs up to our software or when someone cancels their subscription, it creates this bonjour down the bottom. So it's literally saying when someone, in this case, when an event happens in our payment system, we will continue if the subscription was canceled or their credit card has failed, and we'll create a bonjour, which is a personal video system where you literally have this app on your computer or on your phone and you just hit record and talk to the camera for 30 seconds. And it might be like, hey, I noticed your credit card payment failed. Is everything going okay? Is there anything I can help with? Blah, blah, blah. And hit send. And Bonjoro will send them an email with that video embedded. And then automatically follow up in 3 days if they don't respond. And the responses I get from this are amazing. Like because it's personalization, and people don't expect that anymore because everything's so automated. But the amount of time this takes versus that response that you get from clients is amazing. So I definitely recommend checking out Bonjoro and then setting up some automation to send these videos in certain events. So for us, it's certain clients that sign up, we will send them the video, and also when people cancel or if their credit card fails. And this is a very unknown thing I find in Zapier. So there's a built-in app in Zapier called Lead Score by Zapier. And it gives you a whole bunch of information about a person just based on an email address. So you can see here, we've got a new contact added to our email system. Zapier then takes that email and feeds it into this lead score by Zapier, and it returns a whole bunch of information like what country they're from, how many staff they have, a whole bunch of like data points that can be really good to understand some stuff about the client. And then we just have a filter to say number of employees is greater than 10. And then I actually drop in, you can't see it in this thing, but I drop in an item in my to-do list to manually check in with this client, because I know that a company with more than 10 people stands to benefit from Content Snare the most. And then it's a good idea to get that dialogue going. So I'll manually reach out to this person and do a bit of research on their company. So this has stopped me having to scroll through all my leads and identify those best contacts every day. So it just saves me that time. And if you want to go down this rabbit hole, the lead score by Zapier is kind of fairly limited. Like it gives you maybe 20 data points. Check out an app called Clearbit. They start at like $100 a month, but they give you an amazing amount of data just by an email address. They just have a huge database of people, and you can find out a lot about someone just based on their email address and work out if they're worth reaching out to. Lead source is an interesting one. So this is kind of specific with us because with Content Snare, we had a lot of people showing up and we had no idea where they came from. So if you have a client or if you have a lot of traffic and signups, or they're filling out your contact form and you don't know where they came from, it's a really good idea to try and automate that as well. Like find out where they came from, because basically our analytics were crap. We don't know where anyone's coming from because they're literally just Googling Content Snare or like finding out about us from word of mouth. So we actually built this little system here where they can extend their trial in exchange for telling us where they came from. So incentivizing little surveys can help you find a little bit more out from your clients.
James, I'm going to jump in real quick
there.
This stuff is great. Like I'm already taking notes. I love it. But we've got a question from Graham,
Sure.
And he said, could I use the webhooks app to automate events in WordPress? Like maybe run a function in one of those plugins, one of the plugins.
So it would, to run a function in a plugin, the plugin would have to have basically a connection to the outside world, right? And a lot of plugins do not. That have to have their own API, or I'm not sure about the WordPress API, whether it can call functions in plugins. Unless they're built for it, I doubt it. I
think Melanie also added in here that a lot of plugins connect to Zapier, like Gravity Forms. A lot of them do have those connections, as like what you're saying.
Yeah, so they got to have their own connection. And another one is WP Fusion is a pretty cool tool. It's like an automation engine for WordPress, and you can do a lot of stuff. Like it has to manually integrate with those plugins, so that it might be able to add a member to a learning management system, for example, like subscribe someone, or you can trigger automations when someone leaves a comment. So WP Fusion's worth a look because talks with a lot of standard WordPress functions and some third-party plugins as well.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. Alrighty. Next one, follow-ups. I love this one. This is obviously not Zapier, but this one tool saves me so much time and helps me close sales, because the art of following up with people is just so important. Like so many people just forget, to check their email, or everyone just gets buried in email, and it's very easy for things to slip through the cracks. So almost every email I send now will have some level of this follow-up on it. And it's literally just a CC or a BCC, like you can see there. I use the BCC field to drop an email back to myself, literally just by saying 1 week at followupthen.com, or 1 month or 3 days, or whatever it is. I like this tool because there's no extensions. There's no, it doesn't matter what computer I'm on. I can be on my phone. All I have to do is type in that BCC field of like 5 days at followupthen.com, and it will bounce that email back to me and remind me to check in with someone. So this is just an awesome tool. So I'd recommend checking that out. It's free, but there's like a $5 a month plan if you want to cancel reminders when someone replies. So super cheap and awesome. So I briefly mentioned this before. Digest is one of my favorite tools in Zapier, because it essentially allows you to catch a whole bunch of events and build a list of them and then release it in one go. So for example, when I was talking about all my new leads that come in every day, rather than add a to-do item for every single lead that comes in, I add them to a digest. And so essentially the digest just builds this list of people every day. There might be, 10, 20 people in that list. And then at the end of the day at 5 p.m., it drops that list into my to-do list, into my Trello. And I can see a list of all those leads in one spot, and I just scroll through them and have a look. You can also email that list to yourself. You can do whatever you like. Digest is a super cool tool. We've covered contacts. You could do something like monitor a feed, any kind of RSS feed or a social feed like Twitter. And you could have a search terms for your brand on Twitter, and drop them into a digest and release that to yourself every day. So you've basically just built a social media monitoring tool that normally have to pay for, but you can build it in 5 minutes with Zapier. And a cool example that I've done with this is I have this email that goes out towards the end of someone's trial with Content Snare, where they click a button, how likely they are to continue using it. And then it rolls these up into a digest that looks like this in my Trello. This is a Trello card if you're not familiar with it. But you can see there that this is like one item. So someone clicked likely, I drop in their name and email and company, and then a line. And the digest has built this list up every day. So I can quickly scroll through and reach out to people depending on their responses. So asking for feedback, this is another big one, and it's going to tie into the next one of reviews and testimonials as well. But after projects are finished, it's a really good idea to ask for feedback from your clients. Obviously, you can do a lot with that. Things like improving your service, and then using it as an opportunity to upsell. Like in your feedback form, you might have something like, what are you looking for help with? What are you looking for help with next? Like they might want help with marketing or something, and you can use that to upsell them into other services. And you can, so this screenshot example here is what's called an NPS score. So this is if you have some kind of app that people are logging into, or a website that people log into, you pop up this little box to say, how likely are you to recommend X to other clients? And they click a number, and then they get to fill out a text box and say what they do or don't like about it. So this is a classic feedback mechanism called NPS. But you can also just send them to a gravity form by email. That's what we did with our website business. And then based on their feedback, you can automatically ask them for reviews and testimonials. So in this example here, if someone chooses an 8 or above, and they haven't already done a video testimonial, then we pop up this text message to say, hey, look, would you mind sharing it as a case study? We'll credit you with $100. And this is a great way to get testimonials and reviews. And so you can do the same thing with website customers. But, you know, if they give you a 4 or 5 star, you can say, awesome, thank you so much. Here's a link to Google. We really appreciate if you went and did this and maybe incentivize it. Yeah, so, and you don't have to do this manually, right? Like you can set up a gravity form in Zapier to say, if they give you 5 stars, then automatically send this other email. Unless you want to do it manually, that's cool too. But it's definitely something you should be doing. Now we're starting to get into some left field stuff, but I actually like to automate my learning. And by that, I mean literally using Feedly. It's a really cool tool. I mean, you can use any feed reader pretty much, but Feedly is my go-to. And I just have a whole bunch of blogs that I subscribe to. Down the left-hand side there, you can see I've got like graphic design, inspiration, marketing, and further down, I have like technical WordPress stuff. And I can just scroll through these, click on them, see what the newest posts are, scroll through them quickly, see if anything stands out to me, and see what's going on in, I guess, many different worlds like marketing and WordPress very, very quickly. And yeah, so it's just another way to save time. Now, I actually double this up with social media curation. So anytime I click on one, I'm going to just jump back. Anytime I click on one of these links here, it just opens the blog. And then I use Push by Zapier, which is a cool little browser extension where you can trigger zaps manually, and it gives you a spot to put in some text, and it will automatically send this text and the URL and the page title to Zapier to do whatever you want with it. But in my case, I actually curate this into an RSS feed, which then becomes my weekly newsletter. So in that same time of looking through all of this content and actually learning, I'm adding things to my newsletter, which ends up going out into the world and basically keeping, like, it's just a classic email newsletter where it keeps us top of mind with all the people that receive it. That's what I was trying to say. So that is just an awesome little thing that I've been doing for quite a while. It saves me a lot of time. You can do the same thing with your agency clients. You could be sharing marketing information or anything that's going to help them in their business as a weekly newsletter. And that exact same Zap that I use to catch push by, like, all those things that I add to my newsletter actually get queued up to go out to Buffer as well. And so we truncate the description for Twitter to make sure it's under 280 characters and post it out to Buffer whenever so that's one click. Going back to here, one click, typing in a little bit of text. This ends up in my newsletter and on all our social channels. So that's like a serious time saver. This one's kind of random as well, asking random questions. So this is particular to my Facebook group. So if you have some kind of community with your clients, I like to get some engagement going. And this is an old one now. I don't do this anymore, but it asked for people to share websites they had built every Wednesday, for example. It literally just say, every Wednesday, choose a random item from this list and ask a question. And then people respond, and I can get in there and have a look and engage with people. But I really love this because I get to log in the morning because I'm on a different time zone than the States. It gets asked overnight, and then everyone responds, and I get to log in the morning and talk to all those people that responded while I was asleep. So that's cool. I put together a bunch of tools. This is pretty much wrapping up now. A bunch of tools that I love and use in my business. And that can be found at jimmyrose.me/tools. I don't believe there's an opt-in. I made this a while ago. It should all just be there. I should actually double check. It's all just my favorite tools that I use in my business. Yep, they're all just there. Checked it out. So have a look at that. And if you would like to connect with me. I'm releasing videos on automation and how you can improve this part of your business fairly regularly, except right now I'm recording my course. So my YouTube channel has slowed down a little bit. But if you go to jimmyrose.me/YT for YouTube, or just the top level domain to check out some stuff about automation. And there's a pre-launch right now, not a pre-launch, a waiting list for my course when it goes live, because I'm in the middle of recording it. There's a link at the top to go to Zapier course. So yeah, if you're interested, check that out. That's pretty much it.
Awesome. Thank you, James. That was great. We've got some thank yous from the audience as well. Melanie says she uses a lot of those tools. It is her year of automation. So
awesome.
That's great. And Graham said thank you as well for the article about Zapier versus if this then that, or if that then this. I always forget which IFTTT.
Yeah. So that's I have a video and an article about Zapier versus IFTTT, and I mean pretty much all the time I use Zapier unless I'm just doing something simple, really simple, like when one, like on a schedule, add something to my to-do list. That's actually, and if you're on Android, here's an awesome tip. If you're on Android, with IFTTT, you can actually create custom voice commands for Hey Google, and now my phone's going to wake up. So you can create custom voice commands that you use to set off automations, and that is awesome. I know on Apple, you guys have Siri shortcuts, which is I've heard is very good. I haven't got to play with it, but you can actually create multi-step voice automations, which is crazy. I want something like that on Android so bad.
Oh yeah, I didn't know about that. That's amazing. Yeah, I've been digging. I'm getting ready to tomorrow actually dig deep into the Zapier and MailChimp connections and everything I can do with all of that. So that's exciting for me.
And no worries, Graham and Melanie, and thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, this is a really helpful. I know the time difference here. So I don't know if we mentioned it. I know I mentioned it in the email, but James is joining us from Australia. So it's early morning for him. So that's why it's this time instead of our usual lunchtime webinar. So yeah, thanks everybody.
Lunchtime for me is like 2 a.m. So that wasn't going to happen. Aussie. Love it, Graham.
All right. I guess if anyone has any more questions, now's the time. And if not, I will be sending this recording out also, so you can watch your email for that. Again, the Facebook group, it'll be available there, so check us out there. Niche Agency Owners is the name of the Facebook group, so hope to see you guys there. And it doesn't look like anyone has any more questions, so
awesome.
You're free to start your day now, James.
Yeah, right.
And everyone else is free to go eat dinner.
Yeah, I'm going to go and have a coffee and keep trying to wake up.
There you go. Well, thank you so much. Emily. It was really great.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much, Emily.
Yep. See you. Bye.